Welcome to the e-commerce leader series, the podcast dedicated to helping founders and e-commerce leaders navigate the future of online retail with AI. I'm your host, Bryan Kinghorn. I am the head of growth here at Luca AI, and I'm thrilled today to be joined by Laura McCann, the founder and CEO at aromatherapy, a leader in the wellness space. So Laura, thank you very much for being here. Before we start diving into the main topic of conversation of today's podcast, would you mind giving our listeners a brief introduction to you and what your business does?
Yes, thanks, Brian. I'm so happy to be here. I love all things AI. I consider myself to be an older early adopter. I say that because a lot of the younger people that I work with are often sort of anti-AI. So it's very interesting to see where AI fits on the spectrum of age and also like what you do. I am a founder and CEO, and my company aromatherapy is reinventing energy work, and we focus on building out aura studios. So we do aura readings, energy readings, and we combine energy readings with aromatherapy as a healing modality. We do this in retail stores, e-commerce. We do training to train other people as aura therapists, and we do a lot of events. So I'm based in Miami and Asheville, North Carolina. And Miami, it's all about the events. And so we're building a big community here of people who are interested really in, understanding how they vibe. It's kind of adjacent to biohacking, longevity, fitness, wellness, right? It's like there's all those things in the wellness space, but I'd say we're more in the energy side of it.
Okay, nice. And what was the initial, when did you start the business, and what was the initial sort of why behind the business? Like, why did you start, or what was the gap you identified?
Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I came out of the fashion industry, and I was always looking for where there was white space. I didn't want to be in textiles. It's a challenging industry, and I really didn't know anything about beauty or wellness. But my own personal journey, I had some health issues from being a very adrenal solar plexi CEO who kind of burnt my body out, not really understanding how to have that balance. And so I was fascinated by all the healing modalities, but I found as a person who was a little less woo-woo and a little bit more like mental and analytical, I didn't feel safe and comfortable with, just somebody telling me, oh, this is wrong and let me heal you, right? So I was looking for data-informed ways to do that. And we found some really incredible technology. It's not ours, we license it. But that technology gave context to what we were doing, and we were doing aromatherapy, and we were using aromatherapy as a fragrance story. So we were really trying to bring a clean story to the perfume industry. What's so interesting is when I started, I was very focused on being in beauty because wellness wasn't a category unless it was like supplements and vitamins and things like that. But the pendulum swings, right? So now beauty wants to be wellness. And now everybody's coming my way. So really, you're in the UK, you guys have a long tradition of using aromatherapy, but in the US, aromatherapy has been more like multi-level marketing, single note diffuser. And we're really trying to bring it as a healing fragrance story. So combining these two things, we have a beautiful process. We call it the AT method, the aromatherapy method. And you get an aura reading and a chakra reading. It tells you how you're doing. And then you can then create rituals around how to have your best energy. So CEOs, athletes, moms, anybody who's looking to perform and also have a life that is, less stressful, like less anxious, has better things for them. This is a great way to do that.
Awesome. So I assume that you can do the AT method online, and then from there you'll get recommended products and things like that can help you. Is that what are those products?
The thing about this is that because we use software and hardware, the main way that we capture your aura is in photography or a questionnaire. We actually scan you, so you have to be physically in the store or at an event to scan. However, you can sort of self-diagnose. And we do use our e-commerce website. We have a Shopify website to do bookings. So think of it more like a spa where somebody their appointment and then comes in, and then during their reading, they understand what products they might want to buy, and then they can go back and reorder later. So it's
Yeah.
more like that. Yeah.
Okay. No, awesome. Got it. Understood. That's good to know. So thanks for clarifying that. And then, so I suppose taking us to the like e-commerce and how as the business has grown, what are some of the biggest challenges you've had when you've been scaling the business? So whether they are AI related or not, just talk to some of like the challenges you've had in scaling the business.
Yeah. So, we are, I call it vertical in the meaning that we make the product and then we ship it to our own stores. We sell it online, obviously on our website, and then we sell it also wholesale and distribute it to spas and retailers. And then, so that's a pretty traditional business, but complicated enough because you have retail, which is quite unique. You have, wholesale and then online. That's like 3 different channels. The thing that everybody's learned is if you're trying to acquire a customer, it's very hard, very expensive. The brands that have velocity often build a community first. So this incarnation of our brand, because I've been doing this for about 10 years, is only a year old with the brand aromatherapy and the 2 retail stores. But what we learned by being in this market in Miami is community first, right? So we've kind of reversed our focus and we're very focused on doing community. So what's amazing about that is you get that organic social media, you get a real fan base, and then that makes your brand have more heart versus just trying to push ads and getting people to buy. So that's the journey, I think, is finding your way to grow without maybe all the traditional DTC playbooks that we've all been told are the only way to grow: email, ads, Google,
Yeah, nice. And so what specific type of what type of events are you showing up at? Like where are you able to build this community?
So last year we did some smaller events and we used our store. We're in Wynwood, which is a really fun, hip neighborhood in Miami, but the scale was small. And then this year I decided to go big because in Miami, you can do that. And so I have a partner. We've done, our 3rd event was Saturday, and we are doing an 11-month series. So every month we have an event. They're our own event. So we're branded events. And we go crazy. We do swag and yoga mats and product and, influencers. What's been phenomenal is in the, basically started January 1st. So we're middle of March. In the last 2.5 months, I've grown my Instagram following by over 100,000 in about 3 weeks from just the community building piece. And if I tell you that, I was stuck and growing a little bit, that's where I was. And the events really have a whole different use other than just creating a beautiful community. From a marketing perspective, they're magic.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And so that 100,000 in 3 weeks, that's incredible.
Yeah, when I was looking at the numbers, I was like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's incredible. Well done for that. And Wynwood, I was actually in Wynwood last week when I was in Miami. So
I can't believe you
it's I know I didn't. If I knew, if I should have made the connection beforehand and actually came in and said hello. So no, it's a very cool neighborhood. So I can imagine that some of the events over there are very good. So no, glad to hear. And so in regards to like, we touched on this slightly before we started recording. You mentioned the like the age, or maybe it was when we started recording. I can't remember now. Anyway, you spoke about the age, and you spoke about how the age of your team or people that are utilizing AI isn't necessarily what you would have maybe thought by the younger. So talk to that a bit more. What's
so
your experience so far?
Yeah, I'm going to be 62 at the end of the month, and I have a person who's my content director who's about the same age, and so we're like the senior citizens, I'd say, of the team. And then I have 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. I actually had a person who quit the company when we told them that we wanted to use AI in different parts of the business, and they wrote like an entire manifesto about why AI was going to kill the planet, and then they quit. So I was like kind of shocked, and then we had to go back and ask everybody like, okay, what are your opinions? And then ultimately, we said, well, we want you to use it, but obviously we use it in different ways in the business. But I am a super user, and the people on my team who are understanding the leverage it gives you on productivity, You know, they are just doing great and learning and growing. And then there's some that are kind of like, you know, using it in sort of early stage ways. But my goal would be to really learn how to leverage it in phenomenal ways. I feel like we're doing a pretty good job for a small team. And there's so much to keep learning every day, but we use it in marketing. We use it for copy. We use it for writing a lot of the PDP pages. We use it for social media, calendars, strategy. I actually use it as a coach. So I've created like my own, you know, business life coach, CEO coach, and I share things. I use it for, you know, contracts, legal negotiations. Like if there's somebody I talk to every day as my co-founder, and I use ChatGPT. I'm not going around and using 10 different ones right now, but and then I'm using it in sales now, which is also really exciting. We're using some SaaS partners who use AI in the sales process to streamline all the, you know, top of the funnel email stuff. Yeah. So it's been phenomenal. We use it in creative, which is also phenomenal for images. So Midjourney, Discord, and then, you know, a lot of things around production of all the content, which is super time consuming. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And I think one of the other things you mentioned was, I said I'm going to come to that after, your team, back to the team side of it.
Yeah.
So how does the team look like? What is the team like? How big is the team? What type of roles are in there?
Yeah, we have about 11 people. Store has 3-4 people because we're open like 7 days a week. So the store teams aren't using it as much because, you know, they're not on computers as much. But anybody who's communicating, who's writing, who's doing outreach, anybody in marketing. So the marketing team is more heavily involved day to day because just the amount of stuff you have to put out. I'm using it for finance also, business plan, financials, pitch decks, you know, all the things the CEO needs. And then my team interacts with the abundance of stuff, because what happens when you use these tools is you unleash, you know, a tremendous amount of productivity, but you still have to put it through your sort of production channel. And that still takes time to do. And so, you know, the question is, how big does your team have to be going forward when you have these tools? You still need the talent. I think that was why a lot of people were like, it's so bad. It's like, oh, it's going to take jobs away. No, we still need to chew the meat. You know, the sausage factory is going a lot faster now.
On that, do you think that your team would be larger if you weren't utilizing some of the tools you were utilizing?
Oh yeah. And well, first of all, the cost would be ridiculous, right? Because I mean, if you even go back 2 years ago, if you wanted to create, let's say, blogs, right? You'd have to write them and pay somebody. And not saying that the AI blogs are the best, but they're sometimes amazing, especially when you start putting your content in. I wrote a book and I used AI to help me with the book. So my AI is sort of like my world, my universe. And so if I want to write anything, it has like a library of my intelligence and my history. It saves time. You know, the other thing is, let's be real. A lot of the systems that are reading, they're reading, the people aren't, right? So if I want to do SEO or LLM, I have to have content and I have to have blogs. And if nobody reads, that's fine, because the LLM is reading it and Google's reading it, and I still have to do it. So it's sort of like, I'm not sure what world we're really living in, but if I read it and I think it's great and I love it and I enjoy it, then I'm happy to keep churning out, you know, things like that. But that helps with copy a lot, because writing is hard and time consuming. That's a big area.
Nice. Awesome. And again, one thing we did, this was definitely before we started recording, was you mentioned a comment around treating basically your AI as a CEO for like individual silos of the business. Can you just talk to that and how you treat that? Because that was really interesting.
Yeah, you know, like I definitely started using it, like what can it do for me? And so the book was sort of a project, right? But when I saw that after putting the information into it, it was able to really help me with, you know, pulling that information back out. That became very helpful, because, you know, I think the challenge everybody has as a CEO is, how do you distribute information and how do you have everybody be on the same page? And if I'm outsourcing certain things, it's hard and it takes a lot of time. In this case, I can do a lot of that work myself because I can go very fast. So then I understood that I could use it in different areas, and I just started asking it for help. And I found it to be very useful. So now the way I look at it is I have all the cross-functional areas as a CEO that I manage. So finance, everything related to investor. I have my marketing, I have my sales, I have my operations, I have my manufacturing. And in each area, there are things that it does really well, and it can help me and it makes me go faster. That would have been resources, people, projects that are like, I can't say instant, but you're saving tens of hours, a week. Yeah.
So would you say this makes you feel like you're a better business leader now because you've got all these tools than you were before?
Yeah, and I think I can get more training. Like I have a CRO who is a kind of a coach, and he was looking at my chat GPT, which I thought was interesting, right? Because it's got my whole brain in there. And he was like, oh, you can use this and do that. So I kind of am like hitting with, the stroke that I have. And I think the thing as CEOs we want to learn is how to use more, I want to backhand, I want to forehand, I want to serve. Right now, I'm just sort of like, I'm doing so much more. I'm kind of content, but yeah, the next level is going to be super cool. I think all CEOs probably will need an AI coach or an AI tool that helps them, like what you guys do. When you told me what you do, I was like, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, I want a co-founder AI. I want a vice president of this department AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing we've said in the past is that you've got an AI co-founder that is continuously on, doesn't sleep, doesn't complain, doesn't need fed, doesn't need water.
Doesn't bring their trauma to the conversation. But in the old days, because I've been doing this, it was always like the story was like, you need a co-founder, right? And it's like, it's true. You do need another person who's maybe holding space for a lot of different things. But when you really think about the future of this world with AI, why do I need a co-founder who's purely an operational, legacy, holder? That's great. Without the personality, that I don't need that part, right? Or even let's say giving stock options or having to deal with like, you did more work than I did. No, like all that goes away. Do you still need, a team that's like really strong and has velocity and talent? Absolutely. But I think we all have to think of this as a, like something that sits on the shoulder and helps us get through the day. It's not going to replace anybody if you add value in an organization.
Yeah, no, awesome. Great to hear again. And so in regards to like specifically on the e-commerce side, I know you've touched on some things, but how specifically are you using AI to help you scale the business?
Yeah. So, I mean, we develop products, right? So every time a product is created, we then have to get it up on the website to sell it, get it into Shopify. So it's at the point of sale. A lot of that is images and copy. So we have to focus on that. Then once you have it there, then you have to figure out how to sell it and the marketing. And then you have to push it through all the, all the communication channels, whether it's social media, events, even because we use events as a way to kind of do the drop of new product launches. And then we also are looking at how to embed it in emails and different things. So, Shopify in some ways, or the e-commerce platform, is the source of truth where that new product lives. And then you have to figure out how to take that and then move it and, sell it. Yeah.
Nice. In regards to, again, like the creative side, you've mentioned a couple tools already. I can't remember exactly what you said now, but yeah, on the creative side, what are you utilizing there, and how are you, the team?
Yeah, so we use Midjourney for creatives. And so like a use case there would be, we wrote a blog and, we don't want to use stock photography. And so we'll take the blog and we'll say, make an image, and then we'll iterate until we find an image that we really like. So it's not a high value, but if you have a beautiful image, it does push and sell the thing. And that image costs us very little time. And then we can also now animate that image, iterate on that image. So we have different image versions for different platforms, different sizes. So that's really efficient from a content perspective. It's still hard to take like a product, like, if I try to take an image of a product and get it inside of an AI graphic tool, it's not going to represent that.
Yeah.
So it's more like people, faces, moods, but models are expensive, influencers are expensive, so that helps a lot. And then so for graphic, we also use Descript, we use Claude, we use ChatGPT, and a lot of times it's all really more for, getting all the pieces of a marketing project together, which has many, many pieces.
Nice. No, it's great to hear that you are one of the e-com leaders that is, utilizing, AI for most parts of their business. What advice would you give to people in your shoes that maybe haven't yet adopted it as quick as you?
That's a good question. My mom's 84 and I told her to start using it. So I guess I'm a little bit of a pusher of the technology, and now she uses it for everything. So if an 84-year-old can use it, and she uses it for, she's a businesswoman too. So a lot of times it's like, oh, this contract or this legal thing, or I'm like, put the whole thing in there, ask it what you should be worried about, or you don't have to read everything and be a lawyer. You don't have to be an accountant. You can write a letter very quickly that has a lot of intent. If you're having somebody who's making you crazy, you can also do a little psychology, like, why did they write this? What are they saying? It's very, very helpful. So I'd say you can use it in many different ways and just start using it. Once you start it, my daughter, who's anti it, she's in her 30s. She's like, your brain's going to turn to mush. You shouldn't do it. And I was like, I do believe that I don't use my brain the same way, because there are things that I had to use my brain for that my brain's like, I don't need to do that anymore. I'm just going to let the AI do it. So I don't know the long-term repercussions of that, but I think it is interesting. I think we're going to really shift how we do things and how we think and where we put our brain power.
Yeah, nice. And thinking about that shift then, so that shift that is already here and will continue to develop and go further, what role do you see? And I know it plays a big part in your current day-to-day life, but looking ahead, 3 to 5 years ahead, like what role do you see AI playing at that?
I mean, I was attending a online conference with the CEO of Mind Valley, Vikesh Lakhani, and he had like a 3-day thing. I couldn't stay on because I still don't have enough time for that, but I probably should get an AI to give me the footnotes, right? But really, it's like, I think you can automate it to gain time back. I think as a CEO, that's always what you want. I'm not at that stage in my business. I still put in really, really long days, and I need to, and I don't mind doing it. But yeah, it's not, for me, it's not an efficiency tool from that perspective. For me, it's more of a velocity tool for scaling and for, maybe when you have a huge team, you can then make everyone, 5x, 10x. Right now, I'm happy to have like 3x velocity with AI. And then I think the goal will be to continue to increase it. And then also, I think it allows you to maybe do more things around personalization and customization that a lot of the software tools that we use don't allow. So whether it's what you do, dashboards, bringing all my data in, giving me visibility into things, but also like pushing things that I would have to think of to have happen, that's where it's really going to change how we do everything, right?
Yeah.
Like working in the background.
Yeah, cool. And separate from AI, completely separate from AI, but just looking specifically at aromatherapy, as a whole, where do you see the business in 5 years' time?
Oh, thank you. Well, we'd love to open up more retail stores, but we're really creating this platform where, because there's such demand, like yesterday I was at an event called Biohack in Miami, and we had one Aura reader there, and it's a 4-hour event. I had about 75 people want to sign up to get an Aura reading. It takes about 10 minutes to do an Aura reading. So there was absolutely no way we could do everybody. Yeah. And these women were like, it's my turn, like they were crazy. They wanted it so bad. So really the thing is like how to get more Aura readers out there in the world. So we created a certification program to train other people so they can bring it to where they are. So I think that's the model, is our own stores, train people to have their own Aura reading businesses. And then we partner with spas and hospitality resorts, retreats, and other people like that who can embed it into their business. So it's really not like a traditional DTC or wholesale business. It's really becoming more of an ecosystem of products and services.
Awesome. Well, that's absolutely incredible to hear. And thanks very much for sharing your story. And before we wrap up, Laura, where's the best place for our listeners to find you or the business? Like, is it Instagram, LinkedIn?
Go check out our Instagram. It's on fire. It's Aromatherapy Life, and that's our handle on all the social platforms. And then our website is aromatherapylife.com. And if you're ever in Miami, visit us in Wynwood, or in Asheville. We're at the Grove Arcade, downtown Asheville.
Nice one. Well, Laura, thanks very much for having you, for being on the E-commerce Leader Series podcast. It's been incredible to have you, and listeners will